Valuetainment founder Patrick Bet-David joins me now. All right, my mom, big lib, Pat, she calls me, she says, Jesse, you're underestimating her. She's a threat. She's going to beat Trump. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Am I wrong? Am I taking her not seriously enough?
I think you ought to listen to your mom. First of all, Jesse, it's good to see you back. I'm glad you're doing better. But
thank you.
You know, the part about competition is you can never underestimate your opponent. $200 million they raised. And the strategy they're going to get is when they make you change your game plan. And that's what they're trying to do to Trump. That's the part that Trump cannot fall and try to pivot to her in too much of a way. Here's what I mean by it. So they're going to try to agitate. Why? Because at the RNC, Trump gave a speech of seeing kind and gentle and loving and a way to unify. And they'd never seen a Trump like that before. It's like, who is this person? That's what happens when you have a close call. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 all these things are happening. And then Trump's threatened. And then whenever he's threatened, what does he do? Attack. I don't think he needs to, because when you put resume to resume, Kamala isn't 1/1000th of a resume of what President Trump has done. They're going to try to make the American people believe that she's done more things than Trump, but Trump just has to stick to his resume and not allow any of this stuff to bother him. And if he does that, he's going to win by landslide.
I agree. If he's the gentle giant and kind of almost soars over the BS and doesn't even pay much attention to it, doesn't get in the weeds with it, you'd say it's a landslide. But the problem, you're saying, is if he gets sucked into the gutter. And that's what they wanted him to do during the debate. Remember, Biden was supposed to inflame him, get Trump to go crazy, call him a dictator and a rapist. And Trump was smooth and decimated Joe Biden. Do you think Trump runs the risk of being baited by Kamala and the media?
Absolutely. And the reason for that is because there are certain people in the world that they can't help but to fight. They're natural fighters. When you come up in the streets of New York winning in real estate, every day's a fight. When you come up in media and you're trying to put up a show and you're #1 for 15 years, it's a fight. When you come up politics and you're trying to become a president and all these things come about you, rumors, Russia, all this, it's a fight. He's been fighting his entire life. So to tell a 78-year-old man who fights when he golfs, he does, everything's about winning. Hey, listen, pump the brakes when they agitate you and take shots. Who do you think you are? I've been with me for 78 years. You think you can give me any feedback? That's the tough part. But for me, it's resume to resume, and certain things as a tough guy, you don't need to fight 98% of people. Let your generals do the fighting with the 98%. Pick the top 1% of people you ought to fight. Go after them, but not everybody else. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, because here's the other challenge, Jesse, to be thinking about. Sometimes in your own community, you can be given a speech, and your audience you're speaking to in front of you, they're all like, yeah, go after them. Don't be nice. Don't do this and don't do that. That's exactly what you do. You're not converting anybody. You already have their votes. You need to get the independents to say, this is a different man. I like him. I'll vote for him. Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, I like him. This could make me want to support him. You're not, every time he speaks, he needs to realize you're not talking to MAGA. You already have them. You're talking to independent. Like, there needs to be an affirmation on the phone, and everybody around him, like just Marcus Aurelius used to have a slave behind him and say, hey, you're not as important as you think you are. Somebody needs to whisper to him right before he hits the stage. Remember, you're trying to win over independents, not MAGA. You've already won them over. Win over independents. That's who you need. He does that, he'll be the 47th president again.
All right, so who wants to play Marcus Aurelius, his little guy in the background? I think someone should whisper in his ear, don't play to the crowd, because you're right. There's a temptation as an entertainer, because that's at his core what he was for many, many years on NBC, to get the crowd going and get that action going. But that's not what the camera wants. The camera, you're speaking to the nation. And he does have to remind himself that if someone else isn't going to do that for him. Here he is with Laura Ingraham just moments ago. He was asked about Kamala Harris. Let's see if he was as disciplined as you say he needs to be. Watch.
Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
Then why not debate her?
Well, wait. She wants open borders. She'll destroy our country. 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 She'll But because they already know everything. She wants to defund our police. She wants no bail. She wants no cash. You kill somebody and we're going to release you immediately. They call it cashless. By the way, this has been a horrible thing for our country. This has been what I just said. But we know where she is. She wants high taxes.
How would you assess that Kamala Harris attack there?
Look, I've been creating content since 2012, 2013. Sometimes I've taken 90-day breaks. I've done it 3 times. Reason for it is because I was no longer talking to the audience the way I did before. It was no longer fun. It was a grind. And the audience can tell on your face. My suggestion, that look when I see Trump's face, he's back to the grind phase. He needs to go back to 2015, 2016 speeches and listen to the way he spoke when he was selling the dream. Sell America. Sell your resume. Sell the greatness of this country. Sell how amazing of a job we did under your administration. Sell me on how my dreams can become a reality. Sell me what's going to happen when we get the money to go back into their pockets instead of the government. Sell me on that concept. Sell me the dream. Sell me America. I think he needs to go back to that because he needs to almost go back and listen to this RNC speech by himself. Nobody's around, in the bathroom. Pull up the phone and just listen to how amazing you were. That person at the RNC, nobody can beat. I said this on a tweet. I said, Obama at his peak, Clinton at his peak, cannot beat President Trump on the way he was at the RNC. They cannot. That's what they feared because they were divided behind closed doors. How are we going to beat this guy? This one you just saw with Laura Ingraham, my opinion, I know I'm going to get a lot of texts. You have no clue what you're talking about. Who the hell you think you are? You're just a regular guy. I totally get it. I'm giving my feedback. I may be wrong, but the way he spoke at the RNC, he won millions of people who never thought about voting for him. That's the president that can win.
Because he'd almost seen God. He'd almost gone to heaven. And anyone that has a moment like that and is that close to another world, you want to hear, and you're captivated by that. And he captivated the entire world for about 20 minutes, and then he riffed. And if he could stay in that zone, that kind of grandfatherly, gorgeous, above it all zone, and sell the American dream, she's going to destroy the American dream, I'm going to give you the American dream, that's on point. Patrick Bet-David, I think you should just work for the campaign. I think I need a 90-day break. Okay? Let's do it. I'll see if Fox is down for that.
Appreciate you, Jesse.
Thank you so much, Pat. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.